country with Natalia. We are back after a couple of weeks of nothingness. It's been a very challenging time, but here we are back, and I'm very excited and delighted to welcome special guest Pete here from Priavo Security. Especially this is interesting because of what's going on in the world, and with Priavo's expertise and ways of dealing with companies that need this help that we're in today. I think it's excellent that we have you here, Pete. How are you today?
I'm a little bit tired, but I'm good. You know, we're keeping morale up, and you know, we're busy assisting as much as we can around the world. But apart from that, I'm great.
Yeah, for sure. So what are people's concerns right now relevant to what you guys do?
Well, I think the main concerns, you know, everyone's. You know, I think the main concerns lying with most people is we're in uncharted territory. You know, we can prepare as much as we are. You know, if we talk about crisis management, you know, so many people do prepare, so many people don't, and it's something that we're always trying to encourage. But the people that do, they'll have so many scenarios. They'll prepare for this, that, and the other, and the next minute, you know, a big rhino will go through a china shop or something crazy, you know. And I think we're experiencing that now. You know, I think people do prepare more and more, particularly with globalization, with corporate travel. But you know, including us, we do. We have our own business continuity plans, but I'll be perfectly honest, we haven't prepared for a pandemic. And we're taking each day as it comes. But the important thing is we prepare our team individually and collectively to deal with any situation and to think alone and as individuals and as a team. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're in uncharted territory. I think people are worried about the messages that are coming across. People are worried about, you know, the way that you know, some media are spreading the word, you know. But let's face it, you know, I think we're all in the dark. I think it's very important to take good advice from the World Health Organization website, which is you know, it's a good source of information, and find solid information and kind of filter the noise that's out there as best you can. So you know, I think you know, it's the fear of the unknown a little bit, but you know, I'm personally, you know, it's easier for me to say we have been trained for these situations, but I think, you know, we're doing well as a world collectively. There's so many measures being put in place, the isolation, the quarantine, and I know it's horrible, but it's working. You know, I think there's a lot of skeptical people out there about the actual situation itself, the numbers, the pandemic, the virus, everything. But, you know, there could be a lot of positivity that comes from this.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that I wrote about on my LinkedIn article a few days ago, is that this is a time also to reflect back and see what opportunities can be taken. So in your situation as Priavo Security, I mean, you deal with not only private people, it's corporates, government sectors. So the message out there, it can be tailored to each and every one of us. It's not just a particular industry. And people should also be mindful that security and the state of mind is so interlinked that you have to really look out for yourselves for the better good of everybody else. So what are things that are tailored to your clientele in each of these three categories that people can do for the better good?
Well, we've got we've obviously got ongoing operations with high net worth clients from land and sea. Super yachts are a key point in this. You know, charters have stopped, but we do have clients on board vessels. So we're monitoring what's going on board, but we're also preparing for the long term. And you know, we're also preparing for rotation of crew, isolation periods for ongoing and disembarking crew. so that we know that they've been isolated, quarantined, and they're sterile going on board. And we're doing the same for homes, and we're also doing the same for homes and for yachts for backups if things deteriorate. Certain countries where vessels are, they don't have the infrastructure and they rely heavily on import. So if things do deteriorate, then we have to get clients out of countries and back to their homes, which we're also preparing. So we have teams at homes monitoring staff now to make sure that they're isolating properly, make sure that the deliveries coming on are isolated and quarantined and unpackaged, and basically keeping homes sterile in case we need to move back there. That's from a high net perspective. I'm sorry.
I cut you off there. Sorry. I was saying it was impressive what you're actually figuring out and doing for all these people, especially given the size of yachts. I mean, there's a lot of crew involved, and they're in a confined environment for greater lengths of time. So what kind of a situation are you? How do you talk to these people without creating panic, I suppose?
You've got, a very important thing, and it's great having gone through military experience for this, right? One of the most important things to remember is that we're taught cheerfulness under adversity, morale, right? So having our guys on board is quite good for that, because we're trained for crisis, and I think we don't flap, and and it's really, 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 I would say probably one of the most single important things in this whole situation is try and keep the morale up. And look out for different people as well, because everyone reacts differently. Stress and anxiety are, is probably a bigger problem here than most things. I see it in. I was speaking to my wife a lot about the, anxiety. She thinks about things much differently than I do. I'm far more focused on the situation and what's going on. She's very focused on the family and. Her parents and all that, and not that I'm not, but we think differently. So it's important to know what other people are feeling, and and really support each other as best we can. And that goes for crew on board. They've got families at home. Check in on everyone. Just make sure as a leader, you need to make sure everybody around you's okay and looking out for each other. So yeah. I think cheerfulness and adversity is a good one.
Yeah, sure. And I think there's a lot going on social media. Thank goodness we're still connected with the world, that we can be connected and offer support in whatever way we can. Maybe we have skill sets from yesterday that weren't applicable for today, but certainly this is bringing out something of more of a humane face to the world, that, we've got to help out, and whatever means we can do so, let's do that.
We're seeing so much community support. We've got community networks. In our neighborhood, we've got there's social media is playing a huge part in this, especially for anybody in confinement. It's definitely bringing out the best of people. Some people in community. I think maybe in the cities we'll start to see different. They face different challenges, particularly as stocks begin to run low. That there are, I think we'll be aware of what's going on. It's terrifying to hear what's going on in the USA. The first thing that went off the shelves was ammunition and guns.
Yeah.
All the shops. I think that's just terrifying. To feel that you've got to do that. I mean, everybody's aware of the threats that we do face, and I think of desperation, but we're not there yet. And we've got to have a little bit of confidence in the government and what's going on around. It's going to be a long way down the line before we get to that point.
Well, this brings it to how many movies come out that show this kind of behavior.
Watching movies. I was thinking this earlier. All these Doomsday movies. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have zombies. It's not. We're more prepared. And actually, there's a lot of talk going on about a famous philanthropist who did a TED Talk 5 years ago and predicted this. We've been prepared for so long for nuclear war. The world going under, tens of millions killed in nuclear war, and we've carried out war games, we've carried out trials, we've carried out preparedness. We're prepared for that, but we weren't prepared for this.
Yeah.
So, again, we've got to think we will be in the future because so much will come out of this. The numbers, they are rising, but they're not anywhere near the comparison of the Spanish flu. In 2018, 80 million people died. Sorry, 2018, 19.
No,
It's only a couple of years ago.
Back there.
And we're not there. So let's look at some positive sides to this. Pollution levels have just dropped phenomenally. Yeah. They see in the waters of Venice. They can see fish swimming down there for the first time ever. So we've got to look at some positivity. But community is a big thing, and we've got to be prepared for the long term. We've got to learn as we go along. This is a marathon, not a sprint now. And I think for any organisations that didn't prepare for this, then prepare. Take something from this. Learn as you go along. But business continuity plans that weren't in place, then start thinking about this.
That's one, absolutely, because I'm seeing a lot of clients of mine just saying we're stopping. That's it. And that's it, like they do a complete cut. And I'm like, well, you can't stop necessarily and just think that in maybe 15 days, it could be longer, 45 days, then you're going to have to pick it up. But in that interim period, that reflects on the company because it just doesn't look like they're prepared, and that they're going to do something in the interim to actually continue the business and make their clients understand that, yes, we are faced with this situation. However, here are things that we're prepared to work on in the interim, or we're here to help you, whatever questions you have. All that, like for us, it's very common sense. But for other companies, they just get this panic mode on and haven't done the military training paths to understand that this is actually real, but life continues until we can. It's like the Titanic. We play the band until we sink. So...
Absolutely. And if you look around us, we see some amazing examples of business resilience. Restaurants are all turning to takeaways. Hotels are closing down but opening up to the NHS. The people out there, again, it's community, but it's also business resilience and business continuity. But if you can't do anything as a company, what can you do for someone else? You want to come through the other side of this, and could you have done more? Could you have done more for your community? Could you have done more for your team, for your employees? Have you come out of this all right and no one else? Because can you live with that?
Yeah.
But as an organisation, if you haven't prepared, haven't carried out crisis management training and built in a culture of this, then do it now. Learn from it as you're going along. Look, who are the strong leaders in this? Who is coming forward with the great ideas? Everyone in your team, look out for the strengths, the weaknesses, and then you can use those people looking forward, for the next, it's identifying good key individuals in a time like this, and not necessarily always the CEO of a company. He's emotionally attached to the company, might not think outside of this. Everybody's got different thought processes. So, you want to keep identify a core team of leaders for business continuity.
So what do you do as in Priavo with your clients to do this crisis management? I mean, do you have Skype calls with your clients and discuss how best to go about this in case-by-case situation?
Crisis management, look, we're always trying to encourage, and well, I won't say it, but the events industry is a huge example of this. We're always trying to encourage the events industry, particularly after cases such as the Manchester Arena bombing and the Bataclan. We're always trying to encourage the events industry to scale up their security. One way of doing this is actually carrying out some crisis management training and identifying the weaknesses, the vulnerabilities that you carry as an organisation. Now, that events industry is just an example. It applies to any industry. Now, you can do a very, very basic scenario training day with key members of the teams. You want to try and get some management in there. You want to try and get some decision makers in there, because you'll never come away from this without having benefited in some way. You can to try and think of some scenario. So we a few weeks ago with an organisation carrying out scenario training, and we can do this to all different levels as well. This was just a basic training day for a company in events, and we'll have live PR feeds coming in. So people tapping away in the next room. You've got social media feeds. You've got we can have news reporters on the TV. You can make this as as live as you want. But a basic scenario training. What threats could face you as an organisation, and then just sit around the room and develop a scenario based on those threats, and then sit around the room and discuss how you're going to deal with that and what falls out of that. So for an example, an event in a large hotel in Manchester, they get food poisoning. Immediately, you've got your PR to think about. What message is going out? How do you contain that? What's the hotel doing? What are you doing? What are the medical services doing? How are you stopping this? There's so many fallouts from this, and you can apply this to any organisation. And we go larger with this. You can then involve multiple. If you're global, multiple offices, different time zones, different languages. You can, but you'll never ever. You can benefit so much from this. So much preparedness. Everybody that knows what they're doing. You instill a corporate culture, a risk culture where people understand what they're doing, and people just jump to it if they know what their roles are in a crisis. Then they get to it, and it makes everything so much easier.
Oh, so many companies I've worked for, I'm not naming names, or come across that don't have this scenario in place. It's actually fascinating because it doesn't, or it might just apply to the top end, but it doesn't filter right down. And that's a big issue, because now what we're seeing is people are freaking out. People are getting really worried and don't know how to deal with it. Like social media, most companies are saying, stop, don't know anything. But no, this is the point. We have to communicate and let our clients know that, yes, we are faced here with the situation, but what are we doing? And what can we do to appease the situation for them as well? I mean, everyone's in the same boat. We're all suffering. We're all losing business. But we can still maintain that relationship with our clients and keep that going in a positive, turning the negative into a positive until the situation appeases, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just want to, it's a great test of character for all organizations now. And, you watch around you, watch how people are reacting. You hear some really good success stories, some dubious ones, but you're seeing great resilience. But what you'll start to see more and more of is individual survival instinct taking place. It will happen. The military was great for this. All troops, they train and they continue to train, but they train individually. So you'll have individual skills that you learn in the military, but collectively, you carry out group exercises regularly. So each individual, has this survival instinct built in, this resilience, which will come out. But collectively, this will prove. So I was going to think of an example when we were in Iraq many years ago, attacked by a force 10 times our size. Chaos. It was absolute chaos. But our individual instincts kicked in. Everyone's like, does the training kick? The training kicks in. It absolutely kicks in, and you do things so instinctively. That's your individual skills. Then, as a squadron, the impact of our return fire, our retaliation was immense, and it allowed us to withdraw and regroup. So that was, that's our crisis management, if you like, and everybody knew collectively what to do, and it got us all back as a group. So it's worth.
Nice way to put the message out there, because we are a group. The world is a group, right? We are a team, and together we have to fight this together, not necessarily, individually, sure, we all have to make our due diligence of staying at home and not infecting people. Even if we think we're fine, might be carriers. We don't know all this stuff. But in the end, it is a group effort. And that's what all these countries need to realize as well, is that, one country has one way of seeing how to deal with the situation, but in the end, the others are saying something else. However, you just gotta kick it in and just say, okay, let's try the best measure, which is so simple: staying at home. Our
Yeah.
great grandparents had to fight. You were in the military. You had to go out and fight. We're fighting something invisible, which is even more scary. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. But we'll all do our best individually to survive, and collectively as well. But I think very important for anybody watching this to remember as well that this could go on for a while, and I think a key point, especially in crisis management training, is it can go on for some time. Now, ensure that you bear this in mind. Keep fit, get rest. Don't just be going in 24-hour overdrive now, because you're going to break down, and you're not effective. So get as much rest as possible. Keep fit. Even if you're at home. I think people are doing that, but that'll help keep morale up. Keep morale up with you. Keep morale up with your team. There will be an end to this, and it'll be, we'll all be fine. We'll all be looking back, but can you look back and be proud, or can you look back and wish you did something better? I think
Wow.
very important.
That's good. Heavy words there, Pete. Thank you so much for all this insight and being the first one on since this whole situation came out. Applaud to you, and especially if anyone has any questions or are concerned of how to deal with their business in this uncertainty, then of course you are available. Your team is available. You're in London, but you have worldwide coverage, of course. Remind us your website, please.
It's priavosecurity.com. That's Priavo, Priavo. I don't know why we chose that name. Good to say. So we're at priavosecurity.com, and please do. We're here to support and help anybody. For advice and anything. We're in the community spirit. So if anything, any niggling questions at all, just contact us. We're more than happy to help.
Amazing. Thank you. Stay safe, stay in, and keep tuned in. I'll put the email address and the website at the bottom of this YouTube video once it's on air. So once again, have a good one. Everyone, thanks for watching this episode with myself, Natalia, Luxury with Natalia. Tune in for more episodes coming in. Take care, everyone. Bye.